Hello guys, I'm back with another video. How's everyone doing? What's good? Today, as I promised, I filmed my, what is this? What is this? Oh, my like full coverage, flawless foundation routine, long wearing foundation stuff. I don't know what I'm naming it yet, so that's what this video is. I did record my eyes. That will be the next video. That is a Valentine's Day sort of like sultry, sexy look. So that was going to be my next video I upload. So please subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe so you can see this video because I really loved how these eyes turned out. It was really fun to record too. So without further ado, keep on watching the video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe like I said, and yeah, I hope you learned something cool from this video. Alright, bye guys. Okay, so let's just get started. My skin is completely clean and moisturized. I have not put primer or anything on. The primer I am going to use first is the Nivea Men's Post Shave Balm. I use this every day, no matter what foundation I'm using. This is like $5 from like Walmart, and I use this product for longevity. Now I just get like a little like dime size amount and I rub it into my skin until it gets tacky. You probably seen me do this a million times, but it has glycerin in it, and that gives me like a sticky base to put my foundation on. Therefore it will cling to it and it keeps it on all day. Now my thing is when I need to wear a mask, I probably need it to last for a really long time, or at least look good for a really long time, and this will ensure that that happens. Now, for my next primer, I always use two because I do get oily, and that's a lot of the reason why my foundation doesn't last, so I use this. And then to combat the oils and to smooth my skin out, a very affordable primer for that still works is One Heck of a Blot by Soap & Glory. This is what it looks like. And I just get like a little pea-size amount of that. And I warm it up between my fingers, and I start right here just to sort of smooth out my cheeks and my nose, and then I bring it on my forehead because I get oily there, and then right in this little area. So all the center of my face is kind of where I rub that in, and I make sure it's smooth. If you use too much, your foundation's not going to blend well on top of it. So yeah, now that we are primed is when I go in with my foundation. Now, I mix up foundations all the time. Lately I've been loving, where's that? Lately I've been loving that NYX foundation. I've learned to work with it a little bit, but when I need to make sure, like if I need to know how my makeup's gonna turn out, I just go back to my trusty old Urban Decay All Nighter foundation. I am in the shade 2.0, and yeah, this is just like a very long wearing foundation. I know how this works on my skin. I know what I'm going to get with it every time I use it, and I love experimenting with new foundations, but whenever I just need to make sure my makeup is perfect, I go with something I know will work. So what I like to do with this is I just squirt one pump of it. I might go back in for more, depends on how full coverage I need to be, but just on like a paddle foundation brush, and I just like paint it on my face. And then my favorite brush for this is the Morphe G2. It's like a big beauty blender on a stick, which is Patrick Star says that, not me. But it basically is. Like, you just bounce it on your skin and it just blends everything out perfectly. So I like to do this to keep the coverage. This is full coverage, but as you know with the beauty blender, you can only get, oh, did you hear my voice change going over my neck? With a beauty blender, you can only get so much coverage, and then it just like, you can't get much more because it takes away the excess. Like, you can only get so much from that. So I like to go in with a brush. I really like full coverage, and since it kind of has a matte finish, it's better for my skin because I have combination to oily skin. I get oily in my T-zone, and so it eats my makeup up basically. And yeah, so I just do circular and like dabbing motions to ensure the coverage. And when you're wanting like a full coverage, long wearing foundation, you really shouldn't go with something loomy or luminous or dewy. That was so hard to say. You really shouldn't go with a foundation that's kind of like that because it's not going to last that long. And you get better coverage when you have more natural to matte finish foundations. That's just kind of how it works. So that's something to keep in mind. This foundation's $40. A great alternative to it, not like a dupe, but another foundation I really love from the drugstore is the True Match. That's a very good one too. But now for concealer. This is my favorite drugstore concealer, this in the Fit Me. This is the Instant Age Rewind by Maybelline. I just take a honking amount of that and I conceal and highlight underneath my eyes, even though this hardly highlights because I'm so pale. This is as light as it gets for me. And then I just add extra coverage to the center of my forehead, my nose, right here because women get red there, chin, and then I just kind of like add coverage on my cheeks. Like I kind of just, this is like a second layer of foundation for me, basically. And then I take an extremely, extremely damp beauty sponge. This is the one from Morphe, and I clean it every time I use it. Well, I try to every time. I use Dial antibacterial hand soap, and that's like what I use to clean piercings and like my brushes and stuff. So I clean my sponge really, really well, and then I use really hot water and I get it as full as it can be. Like, I take way too long to do this process. And then I don't wring it out with a towel. I just squeeze it once as hard as I can and let it sit until I use it. So it's not sopping wet. Like, that's not sopping wet at all. You can tell my skin's not wet. It literally, I find this is just the perfect way to conceal my face. Now, I do have really dark under eyes, as you can see, so concealer is like the most important part of makeup for me. So I'm gonna go in with my True Match because this is a little bit peachier of a shade, and that's gonna cancel out that blue. Sorry if you can hear my puppy like barking, she's crazy. Because I don't have a better concealer right now, I was wanting to get the Tarte Shape Tape when I ran out of my my Born This Way concealer by Too Faced and my Naked one. But then it just, like, every time I looked for it, they didn't have it. And I was like, well, I need a concealer now. And I don't really want to spend a lot of money on a different one in case that comes back in stock, which it hasn't. But I love the Instant Age Rewind, so use whatever you got. So now I like to just take the like flat side of the Beauty Blender and just kind of go over my whole face to make sure it's seamless and flawless. I think if you're trying to get like a flawless complexion, like flawless foundation that looks super good but lasts all day and natural, your best bet is getting your full coverage with your brush and then going over it with your sponge, and then it just looks like skin. Like, that looks extremely good on my skin, I would say, personally. Okay, so this is my step where I bake. I don't cream contour or anything. Feel free to. My favorite baking powder and my most heavy-duty powder that I use is the Airspun Translucent Extra Coverage. But this is really good at controlling oils, a lot better than any other translucent powder I've ever done. But it looks so beautiful on the skin. So, I use that. And another one I really love for when I'm trying to not be as dry and bake to the point where I'm like a little finer milled powder that's like less intense, but I still love, is the L'Oreal Hydra Perfect. So I go for the little more heavy one because I have, you know, oilier skin and I crease. But I would say if you don't have that issue, then I would go for a lighter powder. So what I do is I literally just like dunk this in there, get it all sorts of craziness, and I just go right under my eye with it like that, and then right up the side of my nose, and just like all in this like area. And I go over it like twice at least. Make sure this side of my nose is really baked because that always breaks up. And then my temples get a little greasy, and like it makes my hair greasy if it's like laying on that, so I don't like that. I make sure down the center of my nose is nice and good. And then I'll bake or set. I don't really know if you consider this big. Oh yeah. I'll set there. And then I'll take the back of my sponge and just like stamp my chin, because I always put my hands on my chin and like my jaw area, so I set all of that extremely well. Like I would say baking is like the biggest reason why my makeup stays on. And then I'll just kind of bring it on my cheeks and then my forehead extremely a lot. So now that I look like a Coke whore, add more. I would say baking is probably one of the most important steps when it comes to trying to like have really long wearing flawless full coverage foundation. You really need to bake. That is one of the most important steps, and using a powder foundation afterwards, which we're about to do. I'm going to do my eyebrows now. Should I film it? No. Okay. I'm going to do my eyebrows with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer. I am in the shade Soft Brown. I just fill them in, nothing too crazy, and spoolie them out. I'm going to go ahead and do that while my face bakes, and then I will show you what I do with my face next. Next, what I do is I sweep away the bakage with a powder foundation. This is the Superstay Better Skin Maybelline Powder Foundation. I go for this, oh, one second, too fast, too later. Classic Ivory 20, that's my shade. This is what it looks like. I'm gonna take this on the Morphe MB1 brush. This is a newer brush, but just anything that's gonna kind of lay down the product and sweep away bake at the same time. So I'm gonna set my face and explain to you why I love this. You should sweep it away with something that's gonna put pigment back into your skin. And like, look at that. And it puts color back into my skin and everything. I do this because it just adds like that extra coverage that you want. And it makes my skin so smooth. So the key to not looking cakey is to literally just keep on blending. The baking is drying like around my mouth area. And if, you know, your face is too dry, then it's gonna look dead. So what I'll do is I'll take the sponge and get like the wet insides that haven't been used yet and stamp over some of these spots. Okay, now that we have this flawless sort of base on, I'm going to show you how I do the rest of my face. You want to go in with any of your favorite bronzers that aren't too dark. You already have a lot of makeup on, so you don't need crazy bronzer as well, I guess, is my look on it. I've been loving this Essence Sun Club bronzer for brunettes and dark skin. It's not for that. This is a light bronzer. I'll just take this on this big Morphe M551 sort of paddle brush, and you just want to warm the skin up. Go on your cheeks, give yourself some sun, some life. This bronze is enough for me, but because I'm going to go in a little dramaticer with the eyes, I don't want my cheeks to be completely bare. So I'm going to go in with this Chisel Contour shade from this little Tarteist palette that I have. This is just a little deeper, and I'm gonna go in with a Morphe M528 brush and just get a little bit on that and carve out my cheeks just sort of at the base of the contour. I'm just gonna go in and apply a little bit of blush now. This is just a Too Faced little blusher thing on just this little Morphe like tulip shaped brush, and I'm gonna highlight. Then I'm just gonna take my Morphe M510 and I'm going to take the Gleam highlighter in this same little Tarteist palette, and that is just beautiful. Okay, so now that my whole face is done, I'm going to go ahead and put my brow gel in. This is the Make Me Brow from Essence. I don't know if this is relevant to this video. And now for the final step of my foundation routine. Since I use so much powder and everything, you really want to set it with a setting spray that will lock in your foundation. It will last it all day, and it'll get rid of that sort of powdery look and just make your skin look like skin. So I'm going to do 2 layers of this. Both are a little crazy, but whatever. This is the Maybelline Master Fix. Just any setting spray will do that works for you. So let's get damp. Okay, so that's just like a normal layer. I mean, it's kind of a lot. Like, my face is literally wet. Okay, now I'm going to go in with just like 2 or 3 more sprays. that is the end of that. I'm gonna finish my eye makeup, and I think I'm gonna record it, and I'll be back to end off this video. Okay, so I have my eyes on and my lips on and everything. Like I said, I did record and film. I did film this eye tutorial too, so make sure to stay tuned for my next, why can't I think and talk clearly? Make sure to stay tuned for my next video to see these eyes. I hope you learned something cool in this video. This is sort of the finished look. I think my skin looks really pretty, and this is just sort of what I do every time I need a full coverage face. So yeah, bye guys.